Hi, everyone, and welcome to reInvent session ENT 218. My name is Ryan Seaman. I'm the worldwide head of Enterprise Next at AWS. Today, we're going to talk to you about how to ready your enterprise for transformation at scale and start down the transformation journey. Joining us today will be Ryan Hughes, Vice President of Cloud and Infrastructure Solutions at Nationwide, the Enterprise Next first customer that's joined us on the Enterprise Next journey. During our 30-minute conversation today, we'll cover Nationwide's desire for change, overcoming the obstacles of transformation, realizing the benefits of transformation inside of a large enterprise. And then I'll wrap the session with discussing how the Enterprise Next approach came to be and how the approach works, as well as concluding with how to engage with the Enterprise Next team should you want to learn more about how to transform your organization. With that, let me turn it over to Ryan Hughes, Vice President of Cloud and Infrastructure Solutions at Nationwide.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Really glad to be here and to talk about this with you. Really appreciate the partnership over the years. I think the one thing that everyone needs to know first about Nationwide is that we're a Fortune 100 company. We have a large, diverse set of portfolio and businesses that we support. We have over 20 different businesses, we have over 30,000 associates, and we have over 2,500 applications in our portfolio. And our compelling event to get to cloud was to service these different disparate businesses and associates better so that we could serve our members, be price competitive, and really take the next step in evolution of becoming a tech company. As you see, we've been around since 1925, coming up on our 100th anniversary very soon. And, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. What we really wanted out of our cloud journey was lower and more variable expense. We obviously wanted to migrate applications, but we also wanted to modernize our existing portfolio. And we did that in a way that we wanted to meet customers where they are today and not necessarily make them come to us. The days of customers wanting to come into an agent's office and having hours-long conversation and going through paperwork in order to buy a policy or make an investment. Some people still do that, and we still offer those channels. But we also wanted to make sure that when they left the office, they were able to keep track of their investments, keep track of their decisions, maybe perhaps buy more, divest out of something, whatever that may be. We wanted to make that digitally connected, people-powered experience. And so, we also wanted to, in order to do that, we have to also enable distributed innovation. Being that we had 20 plus business units, being that we are such a distributed company, we have to enable innovation closest to the people that know the customer the best. And so to do that in a regulated industry, an insurance and a financial services industry, we needed to have governance around that process. We needed shared platforms, shared pipelines, in order for that to take place, and not to slow them down, but to do it in a governed way that we can all feel good about the security of that members' data as we move forward. So as we think about the challenges to achieving those goals, they're massive, right? In a Fortune 100 company, you have all kinds of reasons why you can't pull off something like that quickly. And quickly is how we want to do it. Like, obviously no one's saying, hey, we want to take advantage of these things in the next 50 years or the next 15 years. No, we want to take advantage of these things now. And so the challenges that we had to overcome, a couple years ago were organizational alignment, setting our eyes on bigger business goals. At the time, we were transitioning to a new CEO, a new mission statement, really reinvigorating some of the businesses and associates that we've had as you saw, the legacy business that we've had since 1925. We obviously wanted to invest in our associates and build cloud expertise, and we're going to come back to that point later of one of the reasons why Enterprise Next made so much sense for us. One of the most challenging parts of all this, you talk about a multi-million-dollar, tens of millions of dollars of transformations that a lot of companies go through. We didn't want a bubble expense. We didn't want to have to invest tens of millions of dollars in order to achieve value someday in the future. We wanted to kind of cash flow the transformation, if you will, as we go. And so, we set out these high goals, and we knew that that these challenges were going to be formidable. So we had to come up with a strategy, and that's what we worked with AWS on, to come up with a strategy to really start to take advantage of this transformation and start to work on those objections. So that strategy includes, as you see here, starting with the executive's vision. We have some of the most talented technology executives I've ever worked with. So I've been at Nationwide now about 3 years. I've never met an executive team that knows more about technology, that is more connected to the business, that really has insights and can move us forward as an organization. Now, with that said, we have a lot of them because, as I said, we have many different businesses, many different opinions, and in order to get those voices together in a room and have this executive visioning session, which is part of the Enterprise Next concept, is the kickoff of the concept. And I'm going to share an asset from that with you very soon. It was hands down the best thing that we could have done with our time in order to really kick off this journey. As we look back, 2 years from now, or 2 years from now, looking back from now, 2 years before, that's what I meant to say. It's the most important thing that we've done. It's generated insights, it's improved our innovation, and it's defined what we mean by migration. You saw the word modernization earlier, and we're going to hit on some of the tactics and some of the mechanisms that we use in order to make sure that our migrations and modernizations are well intended and that they cash flow themselves, and we don't end up with that bubble expense where we still have too much expense on in our current portfolio on premise, and then we're paying for new expense in the cloud. So one of the things I wanted to share with you was this original asset, and I could walk over to the office and show you on the third floor of one of our buildings today. This asset still exists. It's on a big whiteboard. AWS comes in and they cover all the conference room walls with whiteboards. Put yourself back in 2019 and early 2019 and think about walking into a room with all the walls covered with whiteboards and a professional artist and facilitator walking you through this executive session to come up with the problem and opportunity statements, a mission statement of how Nationwide and AWS can work together in order to accelerate value. And one of the things I wanted to point out about this, as you see, is it wasn't a straight line process. I mean, we're talking about a full day with some of the most powerful executives that we have, and opinionated executives that we have at Nationwide, putting together all their thoughts, all of their outcomes that they desire out there on the table, and working through meticulously how we're going to go about things and the outcomes that are desired. So if you look at, just quickly at the center of the page there, you can see migrating the apps to the cloud. Well, what do we really want out of migrating the apps to the cloud? Who really cares if they're in a data center on premise or in the cloud, unless we're achieving some kind of business outcome or financial outcome from it? And so you can see that we started to work through that. The one I would call your attention to would be the one we crossed out right next to it, right in the middle of your screen, where it says number 2, where it's modernize our value streams. Well, that's actually the outcome we want, but we can't get there unless we do something. And so you see that what we really wanted to do was do some iterative innovation. Take some of the applications that we were going to migrate, modernize them, do some iterative innovation, strap on some of the tools that are out there in cloud today, like AI, ML, APIs. Even if it's a legacy system at its core, how can we modernize that and do some iterative innovation to maybe expose some new channels that we can then get to modernizing our value streams? So you can see how it connects to iterative innovation and then on down to impacting business outcomes. So that, again, not a straight line process, really organic outcomes generated here with this session with executive visioning. So I show you this not to show you a pretty picture. I show you this to say this is something we still use today. Again, it's sitting in our office. It's a slide in a PowerPoint that when we go to our steering committee, that we still have in the appendix, that we anchor back to when we maybe feel a bit off from a priority standpoint. If we need to make some decisions from a priority standpoint, we'll reference back to this and say, hey, remember, we're not going to get to disruptive innovation unless we do number 1 and number 2. And unless we create that flywheel of saving money and expense with migrating applications to cloud. And unless we do some iterative innovation in order to impact our business outcomes and modernize our value streams, we're not going to be able to get to anything that's disruptive. It's kind of, it's a dream to think you're going to get to something disruptive unless you do the blocking and tackling in order to get there. So, back to the transformation, I walked you through the executive visioning. We were able to put up a governed data lake in order to get some insights into the data that is out there in the cloud. And again, as we move applications and we get more data in the cloud, there's more insights. It's that flywheel concept. We were able to do a lot of innovative stuff. We have new capabilities as far as data analysis and AI and ML and APIs that are out there. But one of the other pieces of this, the foundational element of it, is our migration. If you've come across anything that I have to do with over the last 3 years, and you're connected to me or anybody I know on LinkedIn, you may have seen some of our migration parties, or cloud clinics, or dojos, or some video from our mod programming sessions. All I can say is this can-do, I want to share investment in associates has been hands down the most important things that we've done. And that's why the Enterprise Next partnership engagement has been so beneficial to us, is because we have AWS ProServe resources as part of the investment that you commingle with AWS in. They come in and they actually sit with your associates and your employees, and they transfer knowledge. They really want to grow the platform and not necessarily their consulting dollars. And we saw that firsthand as we went through this journey with them. Digging into the migration a little bit, I just try to leave, one bit of advice out there is, if you haven't done mob programming with some of your technical associates, I 100% think that you should, go Google it right now. Go look at some videos out there. Think about how you can, whether it's in the office or remotely or from whatever kind of team that you have set up, you can do mob programming. And it's probably the best learning mechanism we've used to enable hundreds of associates to become cloud enabled and cloud experts. The one piece that I'll leave you with, the one piece of advice that I'll leave you with is make sure that you let the novice drive. When you let the novice drive the keyboard and the mouse, especially in a sharing session, you kind of come back to that second grade bias that your teachers always told you about. They always told you, hey, raise your hand and ask a question because someone else in the class has that question, but they're probably just not asking it, right? They might be scared to ask it. When you let the novice drive the session, those kind of fundamentals come out, and it's actually a way more valuable session. And you might have someone who's a novice, an intermediate, and an advanced developer in these sessions, but you will bring the whole group up by letting the novice drive. So that's the one piece of advice that I would give in order to enable your associates and your most valuable asset that you have at your company. So I'm about ready to wrap up. The one thing that I will share and some of the outcomes that I would like to share with you is that, we are experiencing on average about a 30% per app savings and moving to cloud. Anyone who has done this knows that you do not get those savings on a per app basis. You get them, at the end of a contract when you're able to renegotiate something with your current provider. You get them through cost avoidance of not having to grow your footprint on premise. But the modeling that we have through consumption reduction, through modernization, through migration, we're going to be saving about 30% per app. Maybe more importantly, we're having impact today, right now, on the customer experience. Our commercial insurance quoting platform that's now on AWS is averaging better performance, and you're able to get a commercial quote in less than 20 seconds on average. We built 75 new apps across the enterprise, and when I say across the enterprise, I mean that in the first year of migration, that after we built the platform in 2018 and we started migrating and building apps in 2019, in the first year we had every business unit at least migrate one app and at least build one new app that first year. we've only scaled it from then. And so I really think that starting wide and then getting more focused on your business value in the second and the third year is something that I would definitely recommend doing again. And then, we can't really talk about the cloud without talking about speed and scalability. Yeah, we're getting better page load time. We're getting better scale for events that happen. If you think about some of the large scale events that have happened across 2020, like the derecho or the wildfires, where we get an influx of claims to our insurance business, we've been able to scale and take those as non-events and be able to still deliver on our customer promises. You might be asking yourself as we wrap up here, where are you at as far as, your portfolio? I mentioned that we had over 2,500 applications in our portfolio today. We have over 300 applications in production in AWS today. And that's pretty amazing considering that we really didn't start migrating apps until the early 2019 timeframe. So in less than 2 years, we moved over 300 production apps. We have another 150 or 200 apps started, another 300 apps planned for the next 2 years. And these applications are not nominal. They're our flagship commercial quoting system, our flagship personal lines quoting system and policy management system, our claims suite, nationwide.com, our front end for most of our nationwide financial websites are out there. And so, in the first year, we definitely moved some applications to get a feel for it. In the second year, we went all in with the most important crown jewel applications that we have, and we're seeing a lot of results. After in 2022, in 2 years from now, we will approximately be, if you add in SaaS and cloud together, we'll be about 65% of our way out of our data centers. And that's a big deal for us. That's a far cry from where we were just starting in 2019. Almost 100% in our data centers. So we're really proud of where we went, and we really couldn't be there without the partnership that we've gotten from AWS in the Enterprise Next partnership that we have. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to the wonderful Ryan. Thank you for your partnership, Ryan. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ryan. And let me personally thank you and your team at Nationwide for joining us in the Enterprise Next team on going down the transformation journey with AWS. It's been a lot of fun working with you and your team, and it's been enjoyable to watch your organization transform on top of the AWS cloud. I thought we would start today's introduction of Enterprise Next discussing why we built the Enterprise Next approach to begin with. What we've realized over the past several years, similar to the Nationwide experience, that enterprises face a series of consistent challenges to achieving digital transformation. The first challenge we see all organizations face is aligning on business outcomes. This isn't just about understanding where to start your transformation, whether to focus on cost savings or focus on net new innovation. It's also about helping your business leaders understand how to reimagine their business on top of new digital solutions and products. The second key challenge we see organizations face is reducing their technical debt. Most large enterprises with any sort of history have a large amount of technical debt to overcome as they move into modern digital business execution. That includes both monolith workloads, monolith applications, as well as being held captive to legacy licensing and software providers. The next challenge faced by all enterprises is addressing how to attract, build, and retain the right skill sets for the future. The key to this process is understanding that large enterprises have thousands of people across both the business and IT that need to learn to work together in new ways in the future that will help them to reinvent how their business operates, not just the technology stacks, but how they work together in the future. The fourth challenge that we often see is keeping pace with the escalating business demand. Historically, just 3 to 4, or maybe just 3 or 4 years back, what we saw was large enterprises almost always started with the story of how do I reduce the cost and the total cost of ownership of IT, reducing the cost of data centers, reducing the cost of the application estate, and simplifying their environments. Subsequent to modernizing the existing estate, then they would move into building net new capabilities for products and services, using modern solutions, and getting to market with new products. What we've seen over the last 2 years is that has really started transition. CEOs, CDOs, and CMOs now look at their CIOs and CTOs and tell them we can't do this in a linear fashion. We have to transform our business through digital product while we modernize. And so the dealing with the complexity and the challenges has become more imperative and a harder challenge to solve. And then lastly, what we've seen, the key challenge for sustainability is all about building new operating models. Understanding that running your entire IT portfolio in a single sense, in a single fashion, as you have historically, won't sustain the agility and the speed and the innovation capabilities you need for the future. So helping organizations reinvent how they run commodity workloads differently than how they run customer-facing net new digital products and services differently within their organization, so that one's focused on reducing the cost of the organization while the other is focused on growing revenue and providing value to customers. To build the Enterprise Next program, a team of experts across the AWS organization looked across our historical data of how we've worked with large enterprises historically. In doing this, what we recognize is that we've built a lot of solutions to help organizations focus on two different things really substantively. One is digital transformation. We've used things like our digital innovation program that helps customers innovate like Amazon, or data-driven everywhere that helps make enterprise data available across the organization to help organizations think about reinventing their business. On the flip side of that, we've also built programs like Database Freedom and Windows Rethink to address the challenges of legacy software and licensing providers related to technology modernization, or the Migration Acceleration Program that helps customers exit data centers and move to the cloud more quickly. As part of the Enterprise Next program, we bring both of those journeys together to focus on the business goals and objectives from both parties. We bring them together and help them, as we did with Nationwide, prioritize where we want to focus our resources and what are the key capabilities we need to build into the organization now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, and 2 years from now. From there, we take those business goals and objectives, and then we move into building a key set of capabilities that make transformation sustainable. What we've identified as the key capabilities in every enterprise that need to be established and repeatable are really centered on modernization, data and insights, innovative capabilities, and organizational alignment. We start with migration and modernization, the focus on moving to container solutions, moving on to more modern technologies, leveraging open source stacks, et cetera, et cetera. From there, we focus over on the data and insights capability. We have yet to run into an enterprise customer that doesn't have a desire to use all of their legacy historical data assets to improve both the way they operate internally as well as the way they provide solutions and services to customers. From there, we move to the third pillar, which is around innovation. Innovation is about not just building a single innovation product or solution. It's about building innovation capacity into the enterprise organization, building product-centric teams, creating the ability to adjust and be agile on the fly, and creating the ability to bring together the business with IT so that those groups can work together and as quickly as possible to get information from customers and build new features for customers. And then lastly, we focus on the organizational alignment components. How do you take thousands of people across the business and across IT and teach them to work together in better structured teams, and also provide an education, training, and skill set build plan that helps you uplift the skill sets across the organization and teach them to work in more modern and agile ways. We bundle all those together then in a single prescriptive strategy that really provides for the enterprise customers. If you want to be successful, these are the steps you should take in the order in which you should execute them. And then we bring AWS team members to help get that work done and deliver on the business outcomes that we measure on a quarterly basis. The way that we deploy the Enterprise Next approach with customers is a phased approach, and it all starts with collaboration. Collaboration is the key to the entire puzzle. What we do inside of the Enterprise Next program is we work in a teach-to-fish model. not a let's do it for you model. In the teach to fish model that we use, we jointly sit AWS experts side by side with your own internal resources, teaching them to be able to do the things we do today in the future in a sustainable way. Next, we focus on prioritization. That's all about aligning on the business outcomes and the key challenge that we already discussed previously. Aligning on what are the business objectives, new routes to market, closer relationships with customers, expanding portfolios and services. After we align on the prioritization and the business outcomes we want to achieve, we move to focus on the activation phase. This is about getting to work quickly. We want to move out of the legacy planning and waterfall approach to launching large programs and how to identify what work we should do and what things we need to anticipate. Instead, we launch straight into key capabilities in the activation phase. This is all about launching your landing zones, creating your cloud environments, building operational capability that will be sustainable and scalable in the future, as well as defining some of the innovation opportunities you have through your digital innovation program and identifying what are the key assets and data sets that we need to make more readily available across the organization. Coming out of the activation phase, we build a board level or CEO level business case that describes for your organization the power and the potential of the digital transformation that you could go on. And what we do next is we supplement that business case and that business strategy with the transformation at scale roadmap. That transformation at scale roadmap is executed over a 12-month journey. And it's really focused in on embedding those capabilities in the organization around innovation, insights, and modernization that will allow your organization to grab the steering wheel and own your journey and own your destination at the pace you wish to move at. Having these capabilities in your organization allows you to identify where to deploy the capabilities, where to repeat the capabilities, and how to transform your organization over a 3 to 5 year period, depending on how large your organization is. Each step of the journey is designed to be measured with intended outcomes. The program is designed and it's all about iteration. It's all about learning from the steps we take to take better steps in the future. And so the prioritization phase is all about organizational alignment. It's about building CEO leadership and guidance for the organization on where you're going and why you need to get there, as well as CEO down support and education within the AWS team and the partner teams that are going to support you. Ensuring that top-down direction and across all organizations involved are pointed at the same mission. In the activation phase, it's all about learning. What we see in most organizations is that there's just tons of assumptions that customers make about what paths their digital transformation journey will take. We want to get on the keyboard as fast as we possibly can, begin delivering results, and learn from the experiences we have. And through that process, we build and architect a plan and a strategy to execute the digital transformation and also how to measure the success of the digital transformation over time to ensure we're continuing to adjust and reassess our strategy to direct towards where we need to be in the future. And then lastly, transformation is all about achieving business goals. We focus really heavily on not disassociating the business value that you need to accomplish through the program from the adoption processes of cloud technology. It's not about understanding how many servers you've moved to the cloud, how many applications you've moved to the cloud. It's about understanding the impact on your customers. Like Ryan mentioned earlier, the impact of reducing the amount of time it takes for Nationwide to provide a quote to customers is tremendous. Being able to provide solutions to customers that are built on top of AI and ML solutions that can be predictive for their customers to better be cost effective in the solutions they provide for their customers. We really focus on cost reduction and the cost reduction aspects you expect from your business and how the cost is measured, not how we think moving servers might affect that cost. Throughout the program, AWS works side by side with you and your teams at your customer. Our goal is to work jointly with you to achieve your business outcomes and to help you achieve the goals you need by leveraging both the advice, guidance, and prescriptive program within AWS, as well as working with you side by side in the Teach to Fish model. Let's reimagine your transformation together with AWS. If you'd like more information on the AWS Next approach, please reach out to the AWS Next team at the email address provided. Thank you so much for joining our reInvent session today. We hope you enjoyed the session. We hope you want to learn more. And we wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of your reInvent engagement. Please do take time to complete the session survey. We would love the feedback, and we hope you found our session valuable today.